If there is an all-American cookie, it is definitely the Toll House chocolate chip cookie recipe. So stay with me and I'm going to share with you our favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe with a twist. Chocolate chip and macadamia nut cookies. Well, hi everybody. I'm so excited. It's day one of the 12 days of cookies this year, and I'm going to start with actually my husband's favorite, which are chocolate chip macadamia nut. So for this, we need flour, baking soda, salt, 2 sticks of room temperature butter, sugar, vanilla extract, 2 room temperature eggs, brown sugar, semi-sweet chocolate chips, and a bag of dry roasted macadamias. And make sure that they're salted. It makes the biggest difference in the world. So I'm gonna get set up and I'll bring you back and show you how I make these. For the cookie recipe, the first thing that we want to do is to combine all of the dry ingredients. So I'm going to measure out 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to go ahead and just use this. This is what wouldn't fit in my container. So remember to fluff your flour. There's 1. That's 2. And 1/4. Okay, great. We also need 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of salt. Remember to get fresh baking soda. If it's more than 6 months old, go treat yourself and buy another one. And 1 teaspoon of salt. And I'm using pink Himalayan salt. Now, it is very, very important that you do this. Don't skip this step. What this does, you want to combine this very, very well, is that when we add the dry ingredients to the liquid ingredients, the mixer won't have to do, a whole lot of work to make sure that this is all thoroughly mixed together. So we're able to combine this very, very quickly. Makes a better cookie. Okay. So we're going to set that aside. Okay. The next thing that we need is 2 sticks of butter, and these are softened. I actually have a softening setting on my microwave, so that makes it really easy. If not, make sure that you take this out the night before. And again, it is very, very important that you do this because you don't want to add cold butter and you're going to add eggs to it. It's going to make the eggs, or if the eggs are cold or if the butter's cold, it's going to harden up the other one. So we always want to make sure everything is room temperature as well as the eggs. So let me grab my paddle attachment. That needs to go on there. And along with that goes 3/4 cup of sugar, white sugar. Let me go organized here. You guys can see this better. And I'll bring you over closer once everything gets going. So 3/4 cup of sugar and 3/4 cup of packed brown sugar. And remember, this is our homemade brown sugar. If you want to learn how to make it, go to the, I think it's baking equipment or baking essentials, equipment and ingredients. Go to that video. I'll show you how to make that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get that started. guys over closer. Oops. Stop it. And I really like this KitchenAid versus the ones, I know you see the ones that have where the bowl lifts up. I think it's easier to clean down the bowl with this one. One of these days, I'm sure I'm going to progress to the larger one. I like my just plain Jane white KitchenAid. All right, I'm going to let that go again. Just on stir. Okay, that looks good. Everything's all creamed together. Now we're going to add the eggs. Again, make sure your eggs are room temperature. Go ahead. Do one at a time. I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Get that. Once that egg's combined, we'll go ahead and add the other one. And the last one. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the mixer. Scrape everything down. Now at this point, you can, mix this as much as you want, basically, because there's no flour in here. So it's not going to develop the gluten. It's not going to, I wouldn't walk away from it, and go take a 30-minute phone call, but you don't have to be as particular about it right now. All right, go ahead and get this going some more. So it looks great, all combined. Make sure you guys can see down in there. Okay, that looks good. Whoa, sorry about that. So now I'm going to slowly add, it's hard doing this backwards sometimes. I'm going to slowly add the dry ingredients into this. I'm just going to leave it on stir. Now, you see there's a little bit of flour that isn't mixed in there. That's fine because I don't want to overmix this. We're going to continue to stir this when we add the chocolate chips and the macadamia nuts. So, I know a lot of you will want to dig into this because it's raw cookie dough, but please don't. I love you all. I don't want y'all getting sick. Okay, great. Now we need to add the chocolate chips and the macadamia nuts. So we need 2 cups of chocolate chips. Add half a cup measure here. So 2 cups. And I'm going to make them heaping. He doesn't like extra chocolate chips and chocolate chip cookies. Now, as you all can probably see, this is basically the Toll House recipe. It's on the back of the chips. But I do tweak it a little bit, and I'll show you how here in a second, why it's a little bit different. Okay. So 2 cups of chocolate chips. Then, we need the macadamia nuts. And for the macadamia nuts, I always buy some the dry roasted that are salted. You need the salt. That's what makes this really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put these in a Ziploc bag, and we're going to crush them. I'm going to show you how I do that. So hang on one second here. Let me grab a Ziploc bag. I forgot that. Okay, so this is 10 ounces. I think the recipe calls for a cup. I do way more than that. I'm going to go ahead and use all of these. So put those in a Ziploc bag. All right, I'm going to get my French rolling pin. I'll be right back. Let me grab that. And I'm just going to start crushing these up until they're all smaller pieces. I am not going to bore you guys with this. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera and bring you back when it's all done. All right, I just finished up the macadamia nuts, and now that my therapy session's over, getting out my aggression, you see what they look like. So I'm going to go ahead and just add these to the bowl as well. Put them all in there. Macadamia nuts are not cheap. Make sure we don't miss a single one. Okay, go ahead and get this down. Woo, it's going to be thick. I'll go ahead and turn this on to stir. So make sure nothing comes flying out. Okay, that's it. Let me go ahead and make sure, keep it all down in the bowl. I know, you guys want to stick your fingers in here. So basically what I've done is I've just taken an American classic cookie and I've kind of made an adult version of it. Not that my kids don't like macadamia nuts, they do. But this just has a much different adult taste. Whew. Scrape all that off. So like I said, I can't stress the importance enough of do not overmix. Just bring them all together and then you're done. Let me think think about back when our grandparents our grandmothers made cookies and whatnot. They weren't using a mixer and, walking away to take a phone call. They're doing it all by hand. That's probably why they all tasted better. They weren't overmixed. We wash up real quick. Okay. This is going to be one of those videos that's just full of bloopers. Okay. It's off. Okay, can y'all see how yummy that looks? All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm using make sure we have a good picture here. There we go. All right. I'm going to now use the large cookie scoop. This is where it gets a little different. I'm going to scoop up a cookie. I'm going to smooth it off so I have a nice even. And I'm only going to do, I think, 8 per sheet. This is going to make a big cookie. It's going to be a tall cookie. Okay. And we have to bake it. Excuse me. Excuse me, to bake it a little bit differently than we do what the recipe calls for. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. Okay. So the Toll House recipe calls for the cookies to be baked at 375 for, I think, like 11 to 13 minutes. We're going to bake this, I should say, lower. Oh, and just, I've got using parchment paper. You don't need to do this. I just hate to clean up, so that's why I use it. Okay, there we go, 8 cookies. So in the oven, it's going to go 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. I'm going to take a look at it at 15 minutes. There it goes. So I will bring you back when these are done. I'll let you know what the final time was. So the timer just went off and they were in the oven for about 17 minutes. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to let them sit here for 2 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for 2 minutes. And what they're going to do, they're going to continue to bake on the cookie sheet. The cookie sheet is very, very hot, so be very, very careful. So they will sit here for a few minutes. When the timer goes off, then I'm going to take those off of the cookie sheet and put them on the cooling rack. So I'll be back in a couple minutes. So the timer's getting ready to go. Oh, there it went right off. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off. I hope you guys can see those. They're absolutely beautiful. You see the bottoms of them too. Baked perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off, let them cool on the rack. Go ahead and get another tray going. And I'm just going to keep doing this back and forth until they're all done. And I will show you what it's like when they're all done. See how many cookies that we've made. So the last batch just came out of the oven, and it's almost time to take them and put them on the cooling rack. It looks like I only had 2 cookies that walked off. So we ended up with, let me see here. It looks like, just really quick here. There's a dozen. Looks like we ended up with 30 cookies, if my math is right. 12, 14, 17, 21, 23, 25, 28, I'm sorry, 28 cookies. So, and they're good sized cookies. See how big they are. Anyway, these are just delicious. You can have those any time of year, not just Christmas time. It's just a traditional cookie with a little bit of an adult twist on it with the macadamia nuts. So you're getting that sweet and salty taste in this cookie. So if you try these, please let me know. Like I said, it's basically the Toll House recipe, except we're going to bake them at 350 degrees for 17 minutes. Let them rest for 2 minutes on the cookie sheet, and then they are good. So please let me know if you try them. And everybody, take good care.